Hi, it's Grace Pike. I'm back with 5 features, and today we're out here at the Design Gallery by Sam's Furniture. Lara and Marla are going to be showing us several different ways to decorate around your bed, and make sure to like, share, and comment on this post for a beautiful floral arrangement.
Hey Northwest Arkansas, Lara here at the Design Gallery by Sam's Furniture. We're so excited that you decided to join us again today. You know, last segment we talked about how to dress a bed and we got such great feedback.
Many questions.
Yes, I love it. But one of the questions that seemed to be more on people's mind was, well, how do you accessorize around a bed, right? Because different headboards and different beds are different heights and shapes. And so today in this segment, we're gonna talk to you about how to art and accessorize around your bed. All right, Marla, so let's start with this bed that is more traditional because it is a poster bed,
Right.
which that seems very difficult to kind of work around. Why did you choose to do it this way?
Okay, so with a poster bed, we can't always just center the art and everything. If you don't have something on the sides, it feels unbalanced. So what I did here is I chose very large, tall pieces of artwork that I could actually lean on the bedside table instead of hang. It fills the entire space. It makes the posters seem a little bit more scale appropriate, and it's a really great way to fill the room. And then what we have to do, what makes this tricky, is that you can't use another piece of art now for the center of the bed. And if you don't have something there, it feels empty and unfinished. So what we did here basically is I chose to use some windows to kind of do an interesting art installation as opposed to just another piece of painted art. It just makes it more interesting, it fills the space, and you don't have odd pieces of art all stacked together.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And it's such a great idea. You can use repurposed ones or you can buy some that, I mean, you've layered these. These are all different sizes.
That's right.
And when people think of art, and I myself, I think it has to be painted, but you're so right. It can be a different type of installation.
That's right. It could be a mirror, it could be metalwork, it could be shelving with pots or just interesting accessories, but you just don't want to bring in another piece of art. It would look odd and it just feels a little flat. So this way we've given something interesting that really works with the style of the bed, and everything flows really well together and feels finished.
And I also love that you did the tall artwork and it's leaning on the nightstands and up against the wall, because not everybody has windows on either side of their bed and they need that height.
Exactly. Like I said, it scales with the poster bed, and that's what's really important in this installation.
And you just want to make sure that it does not exceed the length of your nightstand.
That's exactly right. Keep everything kind of all together.
Okay, Marla, so this is a different take on our poster bed because it actually has a full canopy.
That's right.
How do you accessorize around this?
Okay, so it makes it just a little bit more difficult. So what we do, this particular one has a very beautiful canopy, so it's going to act like its own artwork. We don't need anything over the bed. So what we do is we focus now on the bedside tables and everything around the bed. So in this particular instance, instead of bringing in artwork, because the bed has got a lot going on and it really stands on its own, it doesn't need a lot of things to compete with it, let's say. So I brought in mirrors, and they're actually leaner mirrors, and they go behind the bedside tables and they just lean. It's a very simple thing. We tried to stay in the same tones as in the bed so that it doesn't compete with the bed. And I think that just makes a really pretty larger view. You don't focus on any one thing other than the bed, and that's really important in this instance.
And I love that you used mirrors instead of actual art pieces. And I like that you can tell that it's not competing with the mirrors on the nightstand as well.
That's exactly right.
Is this a place where you could put art, or do we want to stick with mirrors because the bed is so beautiful you don't want to take away?
That's kind of my thought process in here. I really wanted to keep it very simple, very elegant, very clean. I don't want to introduce anything that's going to take away from the bed itself. It's just too pretty.
Okay, so now we have a different style bed.
That's right.
It's fully open, which is so exciting. So let's show a different way to accessorize behind the bed.
Okay, so with this one, because we don't have any posters, we don't have any canopy, it's just open space, and that can be just as hard if you don't know how to treat it. In this particular instance, what I did was I used botanicals and I used multiples. I did them in straight rows because this bed is curvy. I wanted something a little more squared off, just to offset that, balance it a little bit. And I used same type of art in multiples just to keep it very simple, clean, and elegant. So with this one, we did 3 different rows, straight across, evenly spaced, to keep everything just a little more clean. And I didn't do any artwork on the bedside tables. We kept the bedside tables a little bit more simple in this respect. And it just really finishes the look off, and it really works.
I love that you went beyond the bed,
Yes.
right? So if you have a very long, large wall, this just gives you a way to fill in more of that space, especially if you don't have windows on that wall.
That's
or
right.
any other pieces
That's
of
right.
art.
And you can even carry this a little bit further. You don't ever want to go past the end of your bedside, but you can go all the way to the edge. So if you wanted to add pieces to this, you absolutely could. In fact, you could bring it all the way down and layer behind your lamps, because that actually feels more finished. This is one particular set. In this case, I might buy 2 sets and add more on each side, and that would really finish it off.
And I think it's great to point out that with the bed being curved, it's okay that you're still cutting off just a little bit of some of the portraits
That's
here.
right. Layering is actually very important, especially, that's one of the reasons I used botanicals, because you don't have to see the entire subject matter to know what it is. So that makes layering a much more easy process. If it were something that you missed part of the picture, it wouldn't work as well.
That
So
makes
in this
sense.
particular circumstance, if you're going to layer, make sure it's an item that people don't have to know exactly the whole picture to know what it is. That's
Yes.
important.
Yeah. Okay, so now we are at our last version of bed. We've got a very straight line here. So tell us why you did the 4 pieces of artwork.
Okay, so with this one, because there are no curves, you can get a little more fun with your artwork. So what I did here basically is I decided to use large pieces of art to frame the bed, 2 over the bed, and 2 layered behind the lamps on the side tables. And I think that really just finishes it off. It gives it a little bit of organic feel in the shape of the way we've hung the artwork. You can actually drop these down a little bit more, but I wanted there to be less of a transition between these art pieces and the side art pieces. So I actually hung at half of this piece of artwork. It's where I started the other artwork on the sides. And that really just makes things feel correct and balanced to the eye.
Yes.
And this is the most simple way to dress a bed.
And I like that you used all the same art pieces. Why did you do that instead of doing an art installation and art pieces around?
Okay, so basically with a bed, I typically use multiples of the same art piece. It just feels a little bit better to the eye when you have to use multiple pieces to keep them very similar, if not the same, because there's too much going on. You've got all your bedding that competes with the art, so keeping art simple is probably the best look for the bedroom wall behind the bed.
I love it. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have shown you several different versions of bed, but if you still have questions, come on in the store. We would love to meet you. Our designers love looking at pictures to help you put your perfect space together. And don't forget to like, share, and comment on this video so you can win this beautiful arrangement.